Shut it down on Friday. What's up, YouTube? 67. Why aren't we at 1,000?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Good morning to you, sir. How are things?
Good. Things are well. Let's do this. Oops. Helps if I do that.
Hey, a new sponsor brought to the fold. Today's weather brought to you by Deerland Feed Store. Very excited. Ash and I went by yesterday, spent some time over there with Lacey Deerland Rosenquist, looked around, saw some Viper, some Amdro.
Got everything.
Saddle, tack.
2.5 inches over the last few days in the official Deerland Feed rain gauge.
There you go. And I bought a cattle prod to use on Ash, and it has a rechargeable power source. And Lacey said that if I acted right, she'd someday sell me the power source.
Exactly.
So I've got the prod. I call it the bee, but I can't sting Ash yet. That said, the weather looks like this: 75 degrees in Victoria right now under what they're calling sunny skies. Heading to a high today of 93 and a decent chance of showers early afternoon. But it's mostly like this. It's kind of clear this morning. It's going to cloud up around lunchtime. It may drizzle some, and then the clouds will kind of go away this evening, and it'll be mostly sunny towards sunset. There you have it.
Just in time for the Generals game this evening.
All right, drive safely. You guys have a nice day.
We'll see y'all tomorrow.
And welcome Deerland Feed to just another family-owned business.
Been here for
ever.
Generations.
Yeah.
Christina Wise first one in, back on top of her game.
Good job. Doesn't say top fan. What's up with that?
I don't know what was up with that. Scott Tomko.
Top fan.
I thought so too. Maybe she declined it.
She might have thrown that away.
She deferred it to the second half.
Yeah, that accolade. I don't need that.
Everybody knows that.
Right? Yeah, that could be the deal. Like, is that white gold? Of course not. You know that's platinum. That's a dumb question.
That's silver.
Right. Come on.
David Glass, good morning. Scott Snow, Marvin Mickish, H.R. Mallory, C.W. Bean, Chris Conrad, good morning. Justin, there's the Iceman, Justin Swatulski.
I mean, look what we got going here. We got Flames, Stamps, Wayne Carter, VCS, and Make America Great hat.
Patrick Strauss, good morning.
We could rent this space.
Judge Posey, good morning. Bobby Leister.
Good morning, Judge. 67 seems to be the magic number.
That is the magic number. Chris Jansen, good morning to you.
Chris's cows are happy. Got a little rain. Got a little free bath over the weekend.
This is my beautiful wife, Cheryl, checking in. Steve Kidder.
Cheryl.
Lisa Poole, good morning. Christina Weiss says it's a given. She's a top fan.
I see. No, not a top fan. The top fan. There you go.
Probably the first one. Carl Big Boy Smith. Trey Molina, there's Lacey Rosenquist checking in. Good morning to you. Matt Boucher, Johnny Houghton. Matt, we're going to get to something here. I wonder if you've had any complaints about this. Karen Webb is checking in. Monica Jost, good morning, everybody. Let's see who's over here.
There's Rena Shear.
Jimbo Slice. There's Don Nicole.
Hi, T-Lat.
Callie Frommie.
Paul
Ebner.
Hey, Paul.
Amy Mundy. Good morning, everybody. But apparently, there's a little what's a plant scam from China, right?
Yeah, I saw notes that if you get this bag of seeds, don't plant it. It could have things in it that are designed to damage our, crop.
Yeah, they could be
industry.
invasive species. But anyway, according to a Fox News report, there's mysterious unsolicited packages of seeds supposedly being sent from China to homes across America. It's prompted ag departments in 31 states to issue warnings against planting the seeds.
And if you throw them into your trash, they could end up growing in the dumpster.
Yeah,
I
guess let them grow at the landfill.
But that could be a problem because it don't spread.
Oh yeah. So what do you do? Burn them?
I think that would be ideal. Smoke them, dude.
But apparently could be an invasive species. They're not sure because nobody's planted them. And it could be tied to a fake product review scam.
Boil them and make a tea.
The packages all appear to have been shipped by a Chinese state-owned postal company and contain Chinese lettering on the exterior. And they advertise products ranging from jewelry to toys, but when people open up the packages, it's just a bunch of random plant seeds.
Don't plant them.
USDA working alongside Homeland Security to figure out exactly what's going on, but they're warning people to not plant them. I'm wondering, have we seen any of that here? I wonder if Matt Boucher has been made aware of this.
Good morning, Sheriff Louderback. Hope you're doing well. What did it say right above Sheriff there? Right there. Seeds for diseases. See, makes you wonder.
Ralph Salazar checking in. Good morning to you, Ralph.
I saw Iceman was up at 4 o'clock this morning. Good morning, Ralph. Hope you're doing well, buddy. 4 o'clock this morning, the Iceman was up.
Iceman's always up early. So Ryan Hopping checking in. Diana Vella, good morning. Clint Ives. Jimbo Slice says could be another form of biological warfare or THC hemp. It's one or the other. It's not going to be anything else.
They always have that guy on the commercials. Hey, man, with 3% THC, this product won't get you high.
Yeah, but the guy sounds high as Spicoli.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to play on your willingness to be like a closet stoner. You know, THC, babe, makes all your pains go away.
Matt Boucher says they did get an alert from USDA. Matt, give us a call if you can. 575-9509. Because I mean, in an area like ours where ag is so important, if this becomes an invasive species, this could be. I mean, I would think this could have ramifications, and depending on the plant species.
Correct.
You know, if not long term, I can't imagine if the Chinese government is trying to do something nefarious here, that they're going to wait 20 years for an oak tree to pop up out of the ground from these seeds. This will be something fairly quick,
like
right?
kudzu or something.
Yeah.
There's Clint Ives checks in. CW Bean raises a very logical question, and logical being the word probably means that's why the government's not involved. He said, why can't the United States Postal Service catch the mail and just not deliver it? Why can't they just say, hey, if it's this box, they're all the same little box, 4x4 box with Chinese lettering on them. Let's just gather all those up, take them out to the landfill, and catch them on fire.
Because every box that comes from Amazon kind of looks like that, doesn't it?
When it says Amazon on it, that's one thing, but if it has Chinese lettering from
China?
From China, we want to get rid of it.
Peter McNally, good morning.
Yeah, Christina says, because everything comes from China.
Good point. Truth to that. Stephen Tyler, good morning. So I thought it was interesting that Elon Musk, Tesla, he's now coming under fire because he's basically told the government in a tweet yesterday that the new round is, forget the $1,200 stimulus.
Right.
I mean, this is a guy that also is, he's in favor of a universal basic income. He's got a worth of, I don't know how many billion. Start giving it out there,
yeah,
Elon. But it's interesting how
I'd take the 1,200. I'm not going to lie.
But it's interesting how quickly this is a guy that was touted by the left as their savior, their hero, because he was producing electric cars. And now that he's met a couple of times with the president, President Trump,
he's a bad guy.
He's turning into a bad guy. Bernie Sanders went after him yesterday.
Do you guys remember Bernie Sanders? Guy was a legitimate,
still is
president.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to say legitimate president, but
still a senator, isn't he?
Yeah. Wow. Who's gonna run against him in Vermont? You're not gonna win.
Big Bunny family.
They're doing more than just taking CBD oil up there.
Right.
Keep electing him.
There's Dave Garza checking in. Dave, thank you for introducing us to Lacey Rosenquist. That went well. Now Dearland's in the fold.
But I thought it was interesting with Elon Musk that it just shows you how quick the left will turn on you simply because you've had an interaction with President Trump.
Yeah.
The orange man bad and Trump derangement syndrome is just absolutely obvious. And
it is very real.
And they're like a bunch of alcoholics. They deny they have a problem with this.
Right. No, they're like, I don't have a problem. It's just observable that he's a liar and he does this. Now, I will tell you that Trump takes a lot of poetic license with the things he says. He does. He speaks more to the intent of what someone says than necessarily what they literally said. Like, he got in trouble about a week ago when he said that Joe Biden had said he wanted to defund the police. And Chris Wallace said, well, get the document and show me where he said that. And of course, Trump couldn't do that.
Yeah, well,
because
you know where it is.
Happened.
It kind of got a little testy there with Chris Wallace.
Yeah, I think Chris Wallace is realizing it's the mid to late part of his career. And he's trying to make a name for himself.
Well, I think he's always lived in his brother's shadow too.
Is that his brother or
Mike?
his dad?
I thought Mike was his brother, wasn't it?
I think
I
it's
don't
his
know.
dad.
Well, then
Mike
even
Wallace,
worse.
147 years old. From back in my day.
Yeah, that's true. You guys were classmates.
Well,
weren't
he
you?
was great. I tell you what.
I mean, if you think about it, 60 Minutes in its heyday in the 80s, if they gave that story to Mike Wallace, you knew it was serious. And then Ed Bradley kind of came along and took it over. Morley Safer kind of got he got some of those, but he also was the more lighthearted 60-minute segments as well.
I was Andy Rooney. A minute with Andy Rooney. So I remember when Leslie Stahl was kind of the young, peppy, cute one, kind of like Lana Logan became later. But now, what's the other guy's name that's kind of the mainstay now? Has the big.
I haven't watched 60 Minutes in so long. I have no idea.
I remember when he was just like a kid.
Yeah, okay. At least suppose Mike Wallace was.
Yeah, and
makes sense. Yeah.
And
now
reality,
I kind of figure out that
they keep Chris Wallace on Fox. He is the left, and he is the informed left. I mean, he's a very smart guy, but he's a liberal, and they keep him on Fox. Where's the conservative on CNN? Which one is it?
I don't think. Well, I think when Joe Scarborough couldn't land a regular gig at Fox, that's when he went to CNN, and he went completely left, right?
Right.
If you want any proof that the media at that level, in some respects, is nothing more than entertainment,
that's exactly right.
You know, he's on Fox. And he's not quite good enough to get a legitimate gig on Fox News. I mean, he filled in here. He had a day part he didn't like, right? He wasn't happy. But he's espousing conservative views and values on Fox. Yeah. Then he goes over to MSNBC. I guess he's Joe Scarborough? MSNBC, I guess.
I think so.
And he goes about as far left as you could possibly go. But people forget that fact that he started off on Fox.
Well, it just shows the media, the mainstream media, is all about ratings and entertainment. It's not really about truth.
No.
But I have a problem with Fox as well. I mean, if you watch Fox every day, you have to be honest with yourself and say, look, all I'm doing is reinforcing my stereotypes and my views and what I believe. And I found somebody that says it more eloquently than me. And this is what I listen to. The idea,
it becomes an echo chamber.
Well, that you watch like a Sean Hannity or some of those guys, and you realize that Donald Trump never does anything wrong, even when Donald Trump obviously does something wrong. They don't ever say, "Well, the president really dropped the ball here, and hopefully he can." Could the president have handled things better with the COVID deal? I think there's no doubt. Now, I don't have a specific, but I think it would be totally disingenuous for me to say he's handled it perfectly. But at the same time, I ask you, Ash, why is it that the U.S. is like by far now like the demonized capital of COVID? Well, how can that be? How can that not be politics?
It's if you question things, it does start make you question why the U.S. is as bad off as the U.S. is with this COVID.
And they're saying 150,000 people have died. Okay. I think it's not much ado about nothing, because some of you know people who have passed. One or two of you may have lost someone that you cared about. I mean, somebody that family member. But the reality is, if we got half this upset about heart disease, lung cancer, we could cure a lot of things. They threw, folks, trillions of dollars at this. You can't get the government to do that for cancer research. Not trillions. Don't kid yourself. Doesn't happen. Trillions of dollars.
Patrick Strauss says the left will make sure it continues to spread for the next 97 days. Yeah.
So you get $1,000 and you give it to 1,000 people, and you just gave out $1 million. Now you do that 1,000 times.
We'll do some math here.
You do that 1,000 times, and you just gave out $1 billion. Now you give out $1 billion, which is $1,000 times 1,000 people times 1,000 times, and that's $1 billion. And you do that exercise 1,000 times, and you've gotten to $1 trillion. And by the way, that's a lot of money, people. That's a lot of money.
Well, that last COVID, what do they call it? The HEALS Act?
Oh, it's got to be something positive,
wasn't it? But
the Miracle Act.
Yeah, but $5 trillion was in that stimulus plan, right? They've still got hundreds of billions, according to Michael Cloud when he was on Friday, that hasn't been used, awarded, and they're already talking about another trillion.
We have 500 billion earmarked for that.
They gave bailouts to, the Kennedy Center.
You can't give every kid in America a laptop? Come on.
Well, 330 million people in this country, roughly, right?
Right.
If 3 trillion of that last stimulus actually went to the people, that's $9,000 a person. You can't tell me that if you've got a household of 4, 5, 6 people, that an infusion of $45,000 wouldn't have helped this country better directly to the people if we're going there, and I don't believe that we should have. But you can't tell me that an infusion of cash like that to a families could have got through the year with that kind of money. They might, some would have had to make some cuts, but boy, that sure would have made things easier. Instead, we're going to give some here. We're going to throw a bunch of pork into here. We're going to do a bunch here. You start throwing the numbers around, and they threw us a measly $1,200 a month, and they gave an extra $600 a week to those who were on unemployment.
Yep.
that per person, that probably could have got a lot of families through a whole lot better than it did. And we may not be sitting here talking about another round of economic stimulus. I don't know. It's just curious.
If the average American family would have gotten $45,000, they would have all gone to Atzenhofer dealership. Since 1926, mom and dad living in a tent with a new Cadillac. Mazda, Chevy, Mitsubishi, they've got them all. Stacking them deep, selling them cheap, selling cars like candy bars. Tommy Taylor and his crew, the Greasons, the family, making it go since 1926. Whether you need paint and body work, service on all makes and models, or a new or gently pre-owned car, Atzenhofer is Victoria's dealership. Get over there. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. The number you need when your car won't go. They'll take it, Atzenhofer. But if you have a fender bender, they'll secure the scene, put out the cones, make sure you're safe, clear the accident, and make sure that everybody is safe. Safety is their number one concern. Allen's is the closest thing to a private first responder that you'll ever see. Reach out, 578-6300. The VCS Company's Rocket Oilfield Services, and the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer, all part of the Hartman Communication empire. Reach out to them for security, suppression of flames.
You're trying to reopen your business, or maybe your school or your institution post-COVID. You're trying to make sure that it's safe to do so. They have products and solutions for you. They have equipment that can monitor your temperature as you walk into the building. So you would know, then bars would drop and you would be deloused right there.
We're at DEFCON 5.
Exactly. But that's how cool the technology has gotten.
Seeing Mike Blasky check in reminds me the Victoria County Volunteer Fire Department hosting a barbecue this Saturday, barbecue and raffle.
That'll be out of the airport.
$10 plates out of the airport. Just follow your nose. Get out there to the airport and put it down the window. $10 plates, $20 raffles, 6 for $100.
Nice.
And there's some nice things. We talked about it yesterday.
Yeah.
Y'all know the drill. I mean, look, there's Browning. They've got it all. You need to reach out this weekend, 11 to 2 on the plates. $10, brisket and sausage. Do it. Dave Garza says, thanks. You're welcome, sir. Thank you for sharing that with us.
SCT Building Systems, 564-8864. Give Clayton and Casey Helt a call from start to finish. They can help you determine what you want for your building needs and which way to go to build it, whether it's traditional bricks and sticks to a metal building. They can do it all. 564-8864. They can even help you landscape it afterwards. It's awesome.
Then get to Chestnut and get it decorated, get it all outfitted with furniture, bedding. They have Tempur-Pedic bedding. All your appliances, you're going to need a washer and dryer, a television, lamps, and accoutrement. They've got it all. Chestnut and Love make your house a home. 116 West Swan Lane, corner Swan Lane, and Bridge. So we're back.
Miranda Tunches says, great segue. Good job.
Thank you.
But it does bring segues. Yeah. But it does bring, but you did kind of in jest bring up a point though.
Yeah.
That unfortunately, I would say 75% of the people who would have gotten a check like that would have blown it, not put any aside for later on, not, and knowing that there's issues and that this thing could go on. And we'd still be here talking about another round of stimulus or relief or whatever you want to call it 3 months later. When do those checks go out? March, right?
Right.
So basically, we're 4 months down the road and $5 trillion wasn't near enough
exactly.
of our money. Let's not forget that.
Or China's money.
They just told the feds to start printing $5 trillion and we're going to be on the hook for it for generations. I mean, if that's my one criticism with the president is there have been tax cuts. I'm not blaming him for the COVID situation. I don't think he was tough enough with that CARES Act or whatever they called it. In getting to the $5 trillion, he seemed to acquiesce pretty easily on that. But with all his tax cuts, he never really fought hard for the spending that went along with it, right? The spending cuts. So while we cut taxes, we've just continued to spend like we would.
Look, I'm sorry. It looks to me like Lacey Rosenquist's kid got a hold of her phone, or she had it in her back pocket, and Jimbo Slice comes underneath and just says exactly, because it just says GFF, GV, CBC, blah,
by
blah,
God.
Blah. It says by God. Really craziness. So HR Mallory, a DJ's best friend, says, hey, where do we reach out for raffle tickets for the fire department? Great question, HR. You reach out to Tony, club name Tony. That's 571-8664. 571-8664.
All our phone numbers are rattling off today. They're starting to sound alike.
They are. All of a sudden,
don't call Clayton Hell's going to get a bunch of calls for tickets for raffles today.
And Alan Miller gets a call and says, well, how much are the raffle tickets? Alan will sell you a raffle ticket.
Tony's going to get calls looking for a tow.
The guy that's disappointed me the most through the years, we were talking about media personalities and where they go. Look at Dave Garza trying to make a friend. Call me, 676-3246. You look at Dan Rather, that guy, talent looking for a task. I mean, he had a period where he was okay. He had the unenviable position of taking over for Walter Cronkite.
And arguably didn't do bad at it.
No.
The Evening News with Dan Rather.
Such a liberal.
Well, and then he was caught falsifying.
What's the code? What was that deal on?
Documents about George W. Bush. And there's the interesting part, too. Look how far this has come. He's hated so much by the leftist media that Dan Rather forges documents to try to make the president look bad.
Right.
And now Dan Rather is holding him up to a standard that he didn't give him the time of day towards.
Correct.
Back when he was in the news and he was the president.
Jimbo Slice just puts out a random phone number as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. 867-5309. That's the number to call.
Oh, yeah. 867.
That's for Jenny.
5309.
Start that again. I think every area code had problems when that song came out by Tommy Two-Tone.
Great song.
Michael Jolly checking in. Tom Price, good morning. See who else? I thought I saw somebody
Cody
else
Shearer
checking
comes in for the Astros minute. Reminds me that last night the Astros lose 5-2 to the Dodgers. The Dodgers, you'll recall, are the team with the most disdain, most legitimate hatred for the Astros because the Astros beat them in the World Series in 2017, the year of the sign-stealing scandal.
Yeah.
Last night in the fifth inning, a pitcher, I don't know his first name, Jay is his first name. You have R. Kelly as a rapper. This is Jay Kelly, the Dodgers pitcher. Threw a ball 96 miles an hour behind
You know, with today's
the head.
technology, you could have clicked the link.
Could have.
There's a little line under the Jay
Chose
Kelly.
not to. Chose not to. Didn't want to glorify the attempted felony. But for you, with respect and love, I'm trying to get there. I didn't even know Mookie Betts was a Dodger.
Oh, yeah, you signed a huge contract. It's not working?
No, it's not. That's not to make
It's
it
all
your
right.
fault.
There it is.
At any rate, the gentleman's name is Josh. Joe Kelly.
Oh, it's Joe Kelly.
How easy is that?
Could
Joe
you guess
Kelly
that one?
threw a ball behind Alex Bregman, arguably the face of the Astros. I mean, you got Altuve, but Bregman catches a 96-mile-an-hour fastball right behind his head, and both benches emptied. People were irritated. I don't think any punches were thrown because you could transmit a virus in that way.
Yeah.
So there were no punches thrown.
Well, maybe that was what Bregman was so mad about.
He's from LSU.
Yeah.
I mean,
He wasn't mad about the fact he threw behind him. He was mad at the fact that pitcher licked his hand, then grabbed that baseball, and then threw up around his head. That could be the baseball equivalent of speaking moistly.
exactly.
So
I agree 100%.
we don't need that. Is the baseball season in jeopardy? That was some talk yesterday because the
Florida
Major League
Marlins.
Baseball has already postponed all the Marlins games for the rest of the week through Sunday, I think, because they decided that they needed to go to the bars. The reports I'm hearing, 10 of them get tested for positive for COVID. Now they're testing.
Positive.
Now they're testing every day. But how do you postpone a week of games? And I thought basically the Major League teams were they expanded the rosters, right?
The December Classic. I mean, we're going to have the World Series in like December.
Well, but what happens? Well, the Marlins are shut down, so now you've got one less team vying for the 16 playoff spots. I mean,
Right.
At what point does it delegitimize your season? But on the other hand,
Agree.
I thought basically when they shut the minor league season down, these teams still had a bunch of AAA guys kind of hanging around in the wings, working out, ready to go. So what if this were a regular season and all of a sudden the bus gets in an accident from the airport to the hotel? And you've got a bunch of injuries that would linger. Nothing life-threatening.
AAA players.
You might postpone 1 day's worth of games as you make the adjustments to get players in who aren't close by, right?
Right.
But the next day you're playing a doubleheader and you're back on track with 10, 6, 10, 15 AAA guys.
The AAA guys aren't playing. They're at home. There's no minor league baseball right now.
Well, no, but I thought they brought more guys
Did
in
they?
to hang around in case this happens. I mean, they expanded rosters, but,
Interesting. Yeah, there's a 40-man roster, right?
well, there's that.
I mean, right? I mean, they're instead of the
Yeah.
26 or whatever.
Well, it's 28 right now, but there is a 40-man roster. You would, I was under the impression that 40-man roster was basically what sitting around in the
Yes,
wings
sir. Ready
because
to go.
there's injuries. I mean, what are the Astros going to do? Verlander's up for a few starts. They're not going to shorten the rotation to 4 men. Corey Kluber's gone with the Rangers. They had to have guys in the wings to bring up, right?
Concur.
So
I think in so many ways, and I'm not patronizing you here, because I love to make fun of you, mostly because you never get it. They get it that I'm making fun of you, and you don't get it.
Oh, I get it.
It makes it cute.
Don't acknowledge it.
You're cute. I think in so many ways you have a commonsensical approach to things that would make you a good sports czar. Where I could see you being the guy that could say, "Hey guys, let's slow down here. Let's talk about this. What if we did this?" Like I believe that the NBA bubble is something yes, that's something you would have come up with. I do. I believe that's where your brain gravitates. Like, well, what if we just did this? You were the first guy way before NHL started talking about, well, we'll put some of the teams over here and some of the teams over there. You said on this show, well, what they ought to do is just pick 3 or 4 host cities and have a tournament and where they can control things. And I thought that makes sense. And then about 2 weeks later, the NHL announces, now that could go back to your communist roots. I don't know how deep you've infiltrated professional sports, but you did make that call.
Deeply, comrade.
You did make that call.
Deeply, my friend.
Right. You have to throw in the right accent. You're eating peas off your knife. Oh, you're the guy that gets caught in World War II. Use the fork. Use the fork.
Use the fork, Luke.
He says he's from Kansas. He's eating his peas off a fork.
But you just have to wonder.
Tell me about the DNC, that this is going down. The police are saying we're not going.
100 police agencies who've been contracted in some form or fashion to provide some form of security or help at the Democratic National Convention next month. Which I'm not sure if you're having a viral convention, you need 100 police agencies, but
they said we're not going.
In case they don't.
Well, think about it. If you're a cop, why would you want to go to a convention where it's like overtime for you? You're volunteering to do it. Why would you go and stand there and have people walk in and spit on you because you're the popo on their way to cheer for the big socialist Joe Biden? Torn Bales checks in, something we never do and that we would never stoop to do on the show because it's just not the kind of show we do. But I did notice that Torn Bales just ever so recently, maybe yesterday, I don't know, had a birthday. And if we were in the business of giving birthday shout outs, Torn is certainly a person that we would give a shout out to.
But we're not.
So we won't do that. We won't do that. But happy birthday, Torn, is what we would say if we were going to do so.
Chris Jensen says, wait till they put the kiss cam on the cardboard cutouts.
Right? And the cardboard cutouts. You need some like movable eyes. That'd be great, where they could like look to the right.
I'm starting to see more and more cardboard cutouts in stadiums.
Right.
I think the owners are figuring out it's a pretty easy way to make a buck, and there's gullible people out there willing to pay for it to get their face or somebody's face.
If you'd like to pay $100 to be right behind me and Ash during this show, we'll work it out. Yeah. Miranda Tucci says, hey, is the league testing players who are asymptomatic? I don't know that. Are they testing all the time?
Well, I think the Marlins are now. They're doing daily tests.
What about Joe? No, Lou. Sweet Lou. Sweet Lou from the club.
Yeah, I don't. In my opinion, with what he did, Lou Williams, I think the NBA should ban him for the year.
Yeah, trying to get his groove on.
Yeah, well, more than his groove.
I talked to John Paul Hull yesterday, Razor IT Solutions, and JP. He'd come in like so many other folks do. He came in and was watching the show after we were off the air, and he called me and he said, "Hey man, I'm losing it. I'm losing it over Lou and the topless bar story and Lou getting kicked out."
He was just grieving
of the NBA. He was grieving. We all grieve differently. I can you imagine if I told Dawn, yes, my uncle has passed and I'm going to go to Maximus and just grieve. And and not only that, while I'm there, I'm going to jeopardize my multi-million-dollar job and get the COVID.
And risk everybody else on not only the team, but the entire bubble because we're all in Orlando at the same place.
Because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
There you have it. The Lou update. But anyway, JP Hull, he did say to me, and this is where his brain is, folks, with analytics and studies. He goes, what are the odds? What are the odds that this guy's dad died, or that it wasn't his stepdad, or that his dad hadn't already died and he just wanted to get out and go to the club? What are the odds that that guy goes to the club and then gets COVID? What are the odds? That's the way his brain works. And his brain works that way to benefit your business, whether you need to increase traffic to a website, collect money, and transfer it to your QuickBooks where everything works seamlessly, update a Facebook presence. JP Hull, Razor IT Solutions. That's who you reach out to. White Trash Services. Wow.
550-1826.
That's who you need. If you're in the 6-county area, counting us, or Holiday Beach, Rockport, you need a roll-off dumpster.
Soon to be in Port A, I believe, and Aransas Pass.
Can you see that white trash truck on the ferry going across there to Port Aransas? Awesome. How'd you like to be parked behind that baby going across the?
Empty, maybe it's not so bad.
No, there's nothing like that to see here, Mabel.
They start putting full trucks on that ferry, you'll start thinking you're in New York.
It's a good
The
place.
trash barges.
Good place for a stick up. Wow. Reach out. White Trash Services can solve all your needs to give you a trash-tastic day. 550-1826.
Daily curbside collection, or weekly curbside collection, a weekly dumpster, or you need a roll off, they can do it all. 550-1826.
Roll off. And without further ado, it is Caldo Wednesday.
It is.
Today's a great day to get in and get this beef stew type assemblage with a
and they don't
Mexican food flavor.
Yeah.
It's amazing, people.
and they don't get chintzy on the beef either.
No, they give you some meat.
No, it's good.
Where's the beef? Little lady, she'd love it.
There's my cousin Jeremy checking in. We're huge in Mesa, Arizona this
They're
morning.
all wallet chows. Is that so? You know, like if you're from India and you come here and your last name is you what are you going to do when you're here? Well, I'm going to run a hotel. Okay, your last name is Patel. That's how they do that. What else do you do? I'm a doctor. Oh, well, you're a Reddy because doctors are Reddys and Patels run hotels. So if you're a communist defector spy type, are you just a wallet chow? Is that just how it works?
That's how it works.
All of your cousins are named Wallachow. Like there's never there's Lisa Smith, my cousin. Like Ben Zimmer has Lacey Merriman, who is his sister, and Merriman's her married name. All of your relatives are named Wallachow.
There were a lot of boys.
You ever think about that? Wallachow. They're all Wallachows.
I'm thinking
folks,
about it.
by the way, how many other Wallachows do you know?
I think of all my cousins, there were only 3 girls.
How many other Wallachows? I
Maybe
can't even
4.
picture you as a girl.
On the Wallachow side, I think there were only of those whose moms weren't Wallachows,
Right.
so their dads were. I think there's only 3 girls.
You see, this whole bit was just designed to kind of put you down a little bit. It wasn't. We weren't looking for family history here. This is not.
You asked how come we're all everybody's got the same last name. That's why.
All those Wallachows. Now, I say Wallachow now.
You say it well.
Like I say Saskatchewan. I don't say Saskatchewan. I don't say Newfoundland. I say Newfoundland. Saskatchewan.
You're getting
I
there.
keep thinking that people would say Saskatchewan. You know, if they're like Maher. You know.
No, we don't get that lazy.
No.
Like people in Missouri.
Well, because you have those towns, Red Deer nuts. You have to say those towns right in Canada.
It's just Red Deer. They drop the nuts.
They drop the nuts. Like Red Gelding, Alberta.
They got too excited one calving season,
Right.
and the nuts came off. Since then, it's just been Red Deer.
On tail, what did I? Oh, it says I'm late. What did I miss? Nothing, Travis. You missed nothing.
Nothing.
It's a show
As is with
about.
every show.
It's like Seinfeld on the radio. It's a show about nothing.
Patricia Nagel, good morning.
Good morning.
Rod Pupey. Oh, man.
Craziness.
Yeah. He knew it. Just his luck. 2020 strikes again.
HR
Every day's
Mallory,
Groundhog Day.
a
It really is.
seasoned, a military veteran, an officer, and a seasoned law enforcement officer. I'd worry more about the deep cover wallet If you meet one of them, you might not be around anymore. Think about that.
You won't know if you've met them. That's how deep cover they are.
Talking about deep cover and all that. I did watch a show last night, and I told you this. If you didn't watch it, which you didn't, so you weren't like that enthralled in what I was trying to share, and I get that. Which means, of course, our listeners couldn't care less about what I'm about to say.
Well, it was two people I really don't give a crap about to begin with.
Bill and Hillary. Yeah. But there was a PBS special, and it went through the whole deal. You folks will remember the
PBS. So was it a fluff piece, or did they actually maybe get into some dirt?
No, they got into some dirt.
Did they go down the list of 48 people who all been suicided with 2 shots to the back of the head?
Yeah, and no blood at the scene. How did that happen? Like that Foster guy, they found him in a park. He had shot himself. There was no weapon there, but he had shot himself. And there was no blood. Like somebody offed that dude, took him out there and dumped him. But they talked about Linda Tripp. You remember that name?
Yep.
The confidant, if you will, of Monica Lewinsky. They talked about Ken Starr.
She had to know she was going to spill the beans when she talked to Linda Tripp.
Yeah.
That Linda wasn't keeping that secret.
Yeah, of course, she reached out to some publisher. I mean, it wasn't just the newspaper. She reached out to a book lady. They talked about Ken Starr. And that there was a congressman from Arkansas who they played snippets of all the Republicans. And it was just a flashback to when they impeached Trump.
Which was a joke.
Which was a joke, as was the impeachment of Bill Clinton. But Clinton comes out of this deal as actually a pretty decent fiscal conservative leader. There are no more Bill Clinton Democrats left, and certainly not Al Gore, and who, by the way, I think also is a Russian plant. But no, you would know. Okay,
he's German.
He's East German. But what Clinton did so masterfully was when he negotiated to go to a grand jury or an investigation, a sit down, if you will, with the committee. He negotiated a 4-hour time limit. I'll do it, but I'm not doing it for more than 4 hours. And they said, fine, take the seat. So he basically filibustered.
Get what you need in 4 hours.
He basically filibustered, though, for 4. Well, it depends on what the definition is, like that. He did all that. Well, I remember one time in Arkansas, a man said to me, and he goes down that path, and they couldn't stop him because they would ask him questions, and then he would say, am I allowed to answer? And he would go down that road. He's a genius, folks. Bill Clinton is a certified genius. But I couldn't help but feel it had the same dirty feel to it as what they did to Donald Trump. And they called it high crimes and misdemeanors. That's what it's purely quid pro quo.
Well, the Dems didn't pull that one out of their butts.
Right.
They had, yeah.
There's Jake.
Clayton Meyer, good morning.
Interesting. But it was a good.
So did it tell you anything you didn't know?
Not really, but it was like an hour and a half refresher of interest. I mean, I was like, oh, I remember that now. Ken Starr was determined he dragged people back in, and I bet you he's just not a lot of fun at parties, Ken Starr. I mean, it's fitting that he was the head Shaka Khan at Baylor.
When Baylor went down in flames.
Right. Yeah, he's not an exciting guy.
No. Not at all.
Yeah.
So, Attorney General, did you get to watch any of the Barr testimony yesterday?
Clint Ives just said, did you just say Clint Ives is a genius? I really wasn't listening. No. That'd be fake news.
Yeah. Did you watch any of the Attorney General William Barr testimony and before Congress yesterday?
I didn't, and I can't tell you who he reminds me of, but it's somebody that makes me chuckle when I look at him.
He kind of looks like the dad in the Wonder Years. Yes. Later.
He does look like
Dan. What's his name? Dan
Barr. His brother.
Not Roseanne Barr.
Right. He looks a little bit like Roseanne Barr, too, now that I think of it.
Oh man, I didn't get a chance to watch any of that. Unfortunately, I'm hoping to try to catch some of it this weekend. It's about as soon as I'm going to be able to get a chance to look at it. So, just the way it goes sometimes.
He did. Clinton was interesting. I'm going back to serve the American people. That's what I do. Hey, man, I did not have sex with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. Didn't do it.
Well, she had sex with me.
Right.
That's basically what he was saying.
But one of the congressmen from Arkansas got up and said, we're here today over a great infidelity, over a tragic moral lapse. He said, every Republican that's gotten up here has said today, this is not about sex. This is not about sex. This is about lying to the American people. This is not about sex. He goes, anytime somebody stands up and says, this is not about money, you can bet it's about money.
Yeah.
And Congress cracked up because they were all tired of it. It was all just politics.
That's why I scoff at the lying to Congress charges, whether it was Clinton, whether it's Trump, because these are people that routinely lie to the American people all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
We're not going to raise taxes. Taxes go up.
They lie.
We're going to cut our spending. Spending goes up.
Yep.
But somehow they've asserted themselves a moral authority that you can't lie to them, but they can flip it around and lie to us all the time and not be held to any accountability.
Because they're lying to you for your own good.
Well, and it doesn't help that, as a populace, as voters, we're stupid and we have the ability to hold them accountable for those lies, and we just don't do it.
Did you see, though, or recall, I did not, that Bill Clinton, I think 1998, had a $240 billion budget surplus?
Did not.
Now, the country still had a net deficit at the time. It might have been pushing $1 trillion. Now it's like 40 trillion or whatever. But he had
just wait till the next
a budget surplus as recently as 22 years ago.
Yeah, but that was 1 year.
Right. Did the best I could.
Did the best I could.
Right.
Kirsten Anderson checking in. Christina Weiss says, what happens under the desk stays under the desk.
Well, and I think it should have too. I think that's a commitment you've got to make. If you're going to jump out there and you want to, cement your place in history, you've just got to take that for the team and shut up. You don't go out and rat out the president.
Steve Kidder says it was an accounting error.
But
that's surplus.
You'll still see Monica Lewinsky every now and then. I see her on Twitter, and I always remind her that she doesn't really matter anymore. She needs to go away.
Tim Dodge says at least Barr wasn't taking any crap from Nadler. I thought Nadler, the snippets I've seen, Nadler looks like the idiot through all this.
Oh, yeah. He's a little weasel anyway.
Oh, yeah.
He reminds me of the little Nazi guy in the Indiana Jones movie. He's like, he wanted that deal, comes into the bar and grabs it and burns his hand. Hello, Dr. Jones. You know what I'm talking about.
I know the guy you're talking
Yeah,
about.
that guy, Nadler.
Yeah.
Folks, I'm sorry. Ash and I are just having a conversation here. Sometimes y'all get it and sometimes you don't. I understand.
Sometimes I get it. Sometimes I don't.
Beans and Franks.
You won't get any beans and Franks and Uncle Mutt's.
No, you can't, but that's only on Wednesdays. You got to get in and get brisket, ribs, sausage, chicken, turkey.
Oh, they do have beans.
Moist Justin Trudeau turkey.
You could chop your brisket up, put it in with the beans.
You could. Beans and Franks. Something About Mary. Reference. Gratuitous. Something About Mary.
You've seen that movie recently, haven't you? Because
Too
all your
much.
references in the last couple of days have all been Something About Mary.
He was there. Hey, honey, you got to see this. You got to see this. How did you get about the? I don't know. The fireman says.
Can you watch another movie?
The fireman says it's just like the railroad tracks. We've already gone up, and now we're going to go back down. 1, 2, 3, go. We got a bleeder.
Can you watch
Uncle
another movie,
Mudge, folks.
please?
And I'm sorry, I distracted me. Pea salad, potato salad, coleslaw. They've got it all the extras, the jalapenos, the great barbecue sauce. Uncle Mud's is perfect for your family, perfect for leftovers. It's one of my favorite leftovers is Uncle Mud's barbecue. buy more than you need today because you're going to want it again tomorrow.
Yeah, ask for a little extra sauce because the sauce you have at home is never as good the next day.
USA Concrete Coverings. I went to their webpage and recommend you do so as well. See some before and after photos. Just amazing.
Yeah. But actually, you'll want to go to the Facebook page for
Facebook
USA
page.
Concrete Coatings.
Yeah. USA Concrete Coverings. Is that what I said?
Coverings.
Whatever. Close. I mean, our advertising is so cheap. What do you want? Perfection? But if you go to USA Concrete Coatings on Facebook, they have some before and after photos, and you'll go, wow, I could do that on the back patio, and it would look sharp. And it does.
Yeah,
It
take a look at the
cleans
pictures.
everything
It's
up. Check
awesome.
it out. Yeah, pictures tell 1,000 words.
They do.
Went Electrical, Went Services, Went Generators, whether you need a permanently mounted generator, if you need a portable generator, reach out to Went because they'll help you. They do the math to back into what your needs are. Well, I want to run a freezer, an air conditioner, refrigerator. Oh, you need so many BTUs or whatever. They do that. They're good at it. Watts is what you need. Volts, no watts. Anyway,
Amps,
ohms. They got it. They got it all.
hertz.
Hertz, megahertz. They got it. Plus, they also have solar panels to take advantage of the seemingly endless sun we have here in the global warming capital of the world.
And they'll work with your budget. If all you want are gerbils on a wheel, they can do that too. Steve Kidder says, show prep tonight, watch Spaceballs. I did not see you playing with your dolls again, sir.
What if tomorrow morning I came in and said, talk to me, Goose? You would know, right?
I would know.
What if I said, let me drive your car? I won't let you down.
Driving Miss Daisy?
Days of Thunder. No. If I was going to use a gratuitous Miss Daisy, I got to make water, Miss Daisy. Remember that?
That's one movie. That and Titanic, two movies I've never seen.
Oh no, Driving Miss Daisy is a fantastic movie. Great period type piece.
Probably on the ban list now.
Reach out to Bent. Bent went today. You'll be thrilled with the results. You'll have a new generator. You might have a solar panel with a battery
You'll
backup.
never be without power.
You'd have it all. And they can wire it all. They can connect it all. If you do it with natural gas or propane, they've got a plumber that'll make the connection. So many times people try to go and they think they're going to save a buck. And they're like, oh, well, I did on the generator, but I had to pay a plumber $150 to come out here and hook it up. Went brings the plumber with them. So do that. And then, of course, if you're going to have a party or an event like we are,
Great Barn Design.
920-6803. Reach out to Cheryl. Wife of the spy. Would you like to do like a CIA themed party? Like maybe like a scavenger hunt type deal?
I mean, how do you think she gets all these ideas? Accompanying me to all these black tie affairs. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Like in True Lies, I can see you snow skiing backwards down the mountain, shooting the AK. Kalichnikov.
Just trying to stay up on my skis is why I'm skiing down backwards down the mountain.
Right. Folks, we're trying
It's
here.
looking more like a scene out of the movie Hot Dog. You remember that one?
53 minutes after the hour, which makes it Thursday morning in Newfoundland.
Thank you, Steve Kidder, for saving me 3.5 hours. He just, spoiler alert, ruined Titanic for those of me that haven't seen it.
You're the only one on the planet. Little kids in India have seen Titanic.
Well, they've remade it in Bollywood. They've seen their version of it.
Right.
So more than 100, we didn't really get into this, but more than 100 law enforcement agencies have said no to the Democratic National Convention. Is anybody surprised? This is the party that has called and supported everybody who's wanting to defund the police. And then the Democrats are surprised when the police say, well, maybe we just won't show up and help you out here.
We're sending thoughts and prayers.
Yeah. Go send your community service people that you want to replace the police with. For first responders. Call 911 when there's an issue at your DNC and let them send the community activist group that's going to come out and be that bridge between those getting their butts kicked and the perpetrator.
There you go. Jeff Fonseca and you should get together and watch Titanic. Bobby Lasher, what is Titanic?
There we go. See?
But see, here's the deal. And I want you folks to think about this. If the Democrats don't have the police, there still won't be a problem because Republicans, in the big, broad stereotype, the Republicans aren't the ones going through communities, setting stuff on fire, turning cars over, beating up police cars, beating up policemen, spitting on the police, spitting in their drinks. Those in stereotype are not the Republicans. That's the left. That's the way the left goes. Look at me. I need attention. The left is the guy with the big vagina hat on his head. That's the left walking through New Orleans. Look at me. Look at me. LGBTQ rights. I'm going to wear a vagina hat because I'm just like you, but I want some respect. Yeah. That's how the left operates.
So the American Doctors thing was a planned photo op for the right wing. Yet a bunch of people wearing vagina hats getting together for CNN to cover wasn't.
No, see, that's the deal. That was just the disenfranchised speaking out. They're upset. They don't get enough attention. They're systematically displaced.
Adam Daughtry says community watch. Yeah.
Right.
See something, say something at the DNC. Yeah, let's just get neighborhood watch folks to police it. Maybe the guardian angels. They're not doing anything in New York.
I think it would be fine. Down. I don't even think they need the police unless you think that the left is going to protest outside the left's convention and burn stuff up.
It'll be interesting to see because they've had contracts in place, and maybe there's out clauses because most of them have said their concern is that they don't have the ability to use non-lethal force if things get crazy. And here's things will get crazy.
Right.
If that convention is held in person.
Right. What about the Pentagon?
I thought this was interesting. I am. Well, yeah. I mean, my mom's seen one. I believe my mom.
Kelly Edwards hasn't seen Titanic. Fonseca hasn't seen Titanic. So 2 single guys I know haven't seen Titanic, and you.
And me. I think Bobby Leister said he didn't know what Titanic was.
Well, he did. But he probably saw the movie. Just didn't know what it was.
But Eric Davis, not the former Cincinnati Red.
Kelly Froggy says, where does one spontaneously run out to purchase a vagina hat anyway? I guarantee you.
I think you have to crochet yourself.
I guarantee you folks right now, if you type into Amazon foam Titanic, foam vagina hat, I guarantee you something will come up. Somebody do it. Somebody out there type in foam,
it'll arrive with a packet of seeds.
Right. Vagina hat.
Chris Conrad says the left will show up and protest that not enough is being done to further their cause.
Yeah.
And then they'll start riots and they'll burn it down. And then the DNC will need the police and they won't be there because this is the part that cracks me up with this. They don't see their own irony in calling to defund police departments, yet needing police departments to help secure them inside their walled compound to keep people out that they don't want there.
While they're inside their walled compound complaining about borders and barriers. Yeah. And not seeing the big picture.
They don't see the irony in any of that at all.
The irony / hypocrisy. Tell me about these.
Well, yeah, the New York Times was all over this, and this might be about one of the few stories the New York Times is actually maybe credible about and keeping up on because they've sort of been on this. But I'm trying to see I read this last night. I'm trying to find the name. Luis Elizondo, he's the ex-director of a Pentagon program that investigated UFOs, and he comes right out and says in the New York Times report that without presenting any physical proof, he says that by and large, there are objects of undetermined origin that have crashed on the Earth, and we have retrieved the materials for study.
I believe that.
And this Eric Davis guy.
It's called an F-35 stealth fighter jet that probably went down outside of Area 51.
Well, Eric Davis spent years working as a consultant for the Pentagon UFO program. And he says in the New York Times story that he studied the materials, and he says basically came to the conclusion was that these are things that we couldn't make ourselves on Earth.
I remember back in the 80s hearing about a material that to your eye would kind of it would look like a little bit thicker aluminum foil, okay? But not as thick as like a sheet of aluminum. And I remember hearing that you could wad this stuff up and set it down. It'd be a wadded up, it would look like a ball of aluminum foil. And after like 15 seconds, right back to its normal. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of that. Yeah.
I'm serious about that. And they said this metal is not a metal that's on the earth. Now I don't remember where it came from. I find it hard to believe that
Roswell.
Well, they say they did find something at Roswell. People say it was a weather balloon. People say it was all kinds of things. I don't know.
Johnny Houghton says ask if that's the stuff I wear on my head.
Some people get upset. They hide behind their. It's almost like a religious thing. We're the only ones here. God made us, and there's
nobody else.
No way that anybody else is here. It just couldn't happen.
It's such a vast universe.
There's no
the odds are.
Yeah, there's no rule that says that billions and billions of light years away that God didn't get bored and make some more people. We don't know. We won't know that till that day comes.
But on the other hand, I have a hard time thinking that if there's a vast superior being out there somewhere or world, and they have the ability to travel light years to get here, that all they're doing is just toying with us by coming into our atmosphere, going up and down, at right angle turns.
So that's kind of freaky.
Speeding away as quickly as I just have a hard time believing that that's all they want to do is come here and play practical jokes.
And joke with us.
But maybe that's where I want to go. If that's the type of people or beings that are on that planet, they've got things figured out. That might be the best planet ever.
This segment brought to you by the people of Reynolds Wraps. This is Jose Fonseca, Jeff Fonseca. Jimbo Slices, think about how long the SR-71, which was that long Blackbird, had like 2 engines back here, a long fuel sludge, it was basically a flying fuel tank. How about how long the SR-71 was kept under wraps, and then how that, it's so classified that even people like him with a high level clearance didn't have access to it. True story.
And now we just have people in the White House releasing everything that should be classified to the media, and the media just runs with it.
Right.
That's how far we've fallen. I saw something up here that was interesting. Jeffrey Fonseca says he's maybe the only person on earth who's never seen Star Wars. I have not seen any after the first 3, which I understand are now like the last 3.
Did they know all that when they started? Or did they go, hey, wait, we could go back when Luke was just.
George Lucas had it figured out, but I didn't. Because I remember when I think Revenge of the Jedi or Return of the Jedi came out.
Right.
In what? 77 was Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back and then Return of the Jedi, right? Like from 77 to about 81, that was kind of it, if I remember my dates correctly. I haven't seen a Star Wars since. But I remember when that came out, there was talk that George Lucas was going to work on the prequels. I didn't think they'd take 20 to 30 years to come out, then I lost interest.
Dumb it was. Enough for 3.
There we go. We're out of here, folks. Hope you enjoyed the morning. We
Kendall, hang on a second.
Look forward to being back here tomorrow.
We're wrapping up the radio show here live, so just hang on 1 second.
Why are you answering phone call? Personal
it's Kendall. It's Kendall. It's my oldest daughter, Kendall. I try to always answer when my kids call. So just want to tell you folks have a great day. It's Wednesday. Get to Veracruz today for Caldo. Know that we love you, and we'll see you mañana.
Bye, folks.
There you go, baby. I'm here. What's up?
Attendants, please drive safely.
You want to say hi to Ash? You just interrupted the last 30 seconds of our show, and Ash was like, what are you doing? Take a personal phone call.